New filings show that Bryan Kohberger's attorney say he was, quote, out driving when the 4 students were killed last November.
We talk about a grand jury indictment. We always say it's so easy to come back with an indictment from a grand jury because all they really need to show is probable cause.
Last fall says he was out driving alone at the time of the murders with no way to provide exact details for his whereabouts.
They're saying it says that the jury needs to find that the evidence, if it went to trial, warrant a conviction.
This is Reporter Room with Jessica Della Davies.
Welcome to Reporter Room. My name is Jessica Della Davies. I'm an investigative journalist. I am a journalist with a track record in journalism, and I had to prove it to get verified on Twitter. They're selling the blue check marks now, but I was verified prior to that. And if you click on my check mark, you can see that. I'm also verified on Facebook and Spoutable. We have a lot to talk about in the Bryan Kohberger case. Let's get started. My job is to investigate crimes, potential suspects, and criminals, and show you how to consider suspects' crime scenes and evidence. So, why did the perpetrator select a particular weapon? Why this particular location? Why this particular victim or victims? In understanding why certain choices were made, we can understand more about the perpetrator of these crimes. Now, today we're going to be talking about Bryan Kohberger. Reports that he had access to police body cam and dash cam videos through his master's degree program at the Washington State University. We're also going to discuss Bryan Kohberger's alleged superiority complex. What is it, and how did this affect Bryan? You will never guess what other SKs also liked to take long drives, and I'm going to show you proof that BK did have connections to the victims. So did BK use his access to the CSI room at Washington State University if he had access to select and target victims? Remember, we used to think that peeping toms were just harmless, and now we know they're not, and that stalking escalates. And if you want to watch a show that shows you how a stalker thinks, Netflix has an awesome series called You, and it's definitely worth watching. Everything I'm sharing with you is my opinion, and opinions are not facts. So please don't send any negativity to anyone. Let's be kind to each other. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. So please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up so I know you were here. So an informant at Washington State University, where Bryan Kohberger was a teaching assistant and student in the PhD criminology program, as I shared with you in the live stream, told Fox News Digital that his PhD program is privy to a valuable, quote, trove of investigative videos. Now, this provides graduate students with unfettered access to police live streams and crime scene videos obtained through police body cam footage, dash cam footage. So if BK had access to this, this is extremely disturbing, because we need to find out if he was using these cameras to target victims. Now, BK is innocent until proven guilty, but I am going to be talking about this case in terms of BK because he's the only one who's been arrested, jailed, and indicted. I'm also going to show you proof that BK had connections to the victims at the end of this video, so make sure you stay with me until the end. Now, the informant who reportedly has direct knowledge of this Washington State University program has said that the materials could have allowed an unauthorized person to view unredacted crime scene images and videos. Using controls, they could even zoom in on people's faces and reactions. So you didn't have to be authorized to access this, according to this informant. So did BK have access to these video cameras? Was he using them to stalk, spy on, or even select future targets? The informant told Fox News Digital that BK was not part of this program, but that he could apply for it through the CSI lab simply by filling out a questionnaire. So, Did he fill out a questionnaire? Would he have used someone else's ID to perhaps access this information? We know that he was found with an ID of at least one of his victims inside a glove, inside a box. So in this case, it sounds like he could have simply filled out a form online and gained access. Now, the WSU spokesperson, Phil Weiler, just denied everything. He said BK did not have access to this. He told Fox News Digital that BK never obtained entry to the programs. How closely was this information really being guarded by Washington State University? Well, it seems not that well. Although research assistants had to complete a level 2 background check, and FBI Information Services level 2 certification, and be fingerprinted by the FBI and sign a confidentiality agreement, all of the people that were working in the IT department in that room did not have to go through those steps. So how hard would it have been to get hold of someone else's ID and access that room? We also know that BK stole from his own sister. He did have a criminal record to fund his medication habit. I'm watching my words. He was arrested, and later his record was expunged. So would BK's arrest have even shown up on this background check? Would he have not wanted to apply for it for fear that it would have shown up, and would he have borrowed or used someone else's ID? Remember, he was a teaching assistant on the same floor where the CSI digital cameras were all located. Now, I told you in the last live stream about this young woman who had a break-in into her home. She knew BK. She called BK instead of reporting this to law enforcement because nothing was taken. And BK allegedly installed security cameras in her home, which he then used to spy on her. He was able to get her Wi-Fi passcode from her while installing these security cameras, and this allowed him to peep in on her, and this would have given BK a really powerful sense of control over this victim. And I'm going to show you proof that BK did have connections to the victims in just a moment, so please stay with me. This informant also claimed to have direct knowledge of multiple individuals who had not gone through the vetting or training process at WSU. It does make you wonder who had access to these cameras. Was BK watching them? And remember that Kaylee and Maddie were seen on a public Twitch stream, as I shared with you in the live, ordering food at the food truck on their way home just hours before they were done away with. Again, was he watching this Twitch stream? Did he know where the victims were? Did he know Kaylee and Maddie had had a few drinks? How much was he able to stalk and watch? We also know that BK allegedly followed a female student to her car, according to two people familiar with the matter. Now, if you haven't seen the live stream that I did on Saturday, you will want to watch that next, because I show you enhanced images of the body cam footage when BK had his 2 traffic stops when he was traveling from Pullman, Washington to Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, where that body cam footage was allegedly those traffic stops happened so they could get images of BK's face and wrists. And I'm going to show you proof that BK did have connections to the victims in just a moment, so please stay with me. Let's talk about superiority complexes, and then we're going to talk about the other SKs who like to take long drives, and then I'm going to show you proof that BK did have knowledge, he did have connections to at least 2 of the victims in just a moment, so please stay with me. So what is a superiority complex? Superiority complexes were originally identified by a man named Alfred Adler. He was an early psychologist, and he defined it as a reaction to a deep feeling of inferiority. So the idea behind the theory would be that someone was trying to overcome a sense of feeling inferior. And according to the American Psychological Association, an inferiority complex is characterized by constant feelings of inadequacy or insecurity in your daily life. And we have heard all of the reports that BK liked to explain things in the most complicated way possible. He definitely liked to feel superior to other people. So guess who else enjoyed taking long drives? And then I'm going to show you proof that BK did have connections to the victims. As I shared with you in the last live stream, the fact that driving around in the car is not unprecedented. We've seen SKs like Ted Bundy, who drove around. Jeffrey Dahmer reportedly drove around, son of Sam. Berkowitz also drove around in cars. So this taking a long drive, this is not that uncommon with SK type of personalities. What do you think? Do you think that Ann Taylor had to put BK in the car because law enforcement has him on a traffic cam and she knows about it? Remember, all the discovery would have been turned over by now from the prosecution to the defense. And here is the proof that BK did have connections to two or more of the victims. Feel free to pause this video. You can also look up the articles and do your own research on this topic. You don't have to take my word for it or the word of all of these journalistic sources that I'm providing you with. As I've shared with you before, Reporter Room is a journalistic channel, so we're going to be using some journalistic information. We are working to bring you information-based coverage of this case. Subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for watching.